Hello everyone and welcome to the Spiceworks Ziv Davis Partner Webinar. I'm David from the community and I'll be your moderator for today. We got a great session today. Our session is being brought to you by Faronics and we'll be discussing 5 ways to manage computers from anywhere. Before we get started, I'll remind you a few things about our console. As usual, this session is being recorded. So after we're done today, you will all receive a link to view it on demand. Also, this session is live and we invite you to submit your questions at any time using the Q&A widget on your screen. Those will queue up in our site and we'll get to those before we finish up today. Faronics has provided some additional information and downloads in the resources section, so take a look there to get that. And finally, we do invite you to join the attendee chat. That's the section below the community guidelines banner. You can bring that up using the chat icon bubble there with the orange button and start a conversation with your fellow webinar attendees. Remember that our webinars follow our community guidelines, so please be mindful of your chat. Have fun, but be professional. Stick around till the end. We'll have some final housekeeping and announcements on the prize winner. And with that, I'll introduce our speakers for today. Our speaker first is Heman Mehta, Vice President, Product Manager at Faronics. And we'll also have Adam Ziliaks, Manager, Tech Support at Faronics. And finally, we'll also have Richard Zerdung, Engineer, Professional Services. With that, I'll hand it over to Heman to get started.
Well, thanks very much, David. Appreciate it. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this webinar. My name's Heman. I just want to say Richard is chatting with you live on the Q&A section. So if you have any questions, he'll be helping answer those questions in real time. So I'll start off the agenda talking a little bit about Faronics. And right off the bat, I'll give you the pricing. So, there's no unknown here. You'll find that our pricing is amazing and, it's very, very attractive. And I'll talk to that in a second. So with that, if you haven't heard about Faronics, we've been around for about 25 years now. We're most well known for our deep freeze product. So a lot of you may have heard of deep freeze, but not Faronics as much. Deep freeze is our reboot to restore product, which brings back the computer back to its perfect state. In those 25 years, we learned a lot about how to manage and simplify computer management for our customers. And with all that experience, we were able to create our deploy product, which is about 2 years old. So we've had a SaaS product called Deep Freeze Cloud for 10 years now. And then we created the Faronics deploy product, which does not have deep freeze, but has everything else. And it's completely revamped and modernized with the latest technologies. And so, today what I want to talk to you about is the 5 ways you can manage your computers from anywhere. And the first thing we'll talk about is how do you manage your applications? How do you keep them up to date? Your applications like Zoom and Flash and, not Flash, I guess, Firefox, Chrome. And then we'll talk about Windows updates, imaging for OS deployment, as well as being able to remote control these machines and how to manage your software and hardware inventory. And as a bonus, we also have our ticketing product, which will be included in the pricing. And Adam will show you and talk to you about how you can handle your tickets as well. And so what you'll notice is everything that I demonstrate to you today is extremely efficient and easy to use. All the grids that you'll see are smart control grids, as we like to call them. Everything is actionable. It's all real time. There's no middleman required. So you could be, sitting on a beach in Hawaii and managing 500 computers that are back at home in your corporate office. And that end user doesn't even have to be in the corporate office. They could be working from home as well. So in today's COVID times, you can also manage those computers even if they're working from home. So just for your information, the pricing is only $1 per computer per month, which is about $12 on an annual basis. If you were to purchase a 3-year subscription with us, it's only $10 per computer per year. All right. The only thing that is an add-on in whatever I show you today is our antivirus product, which is powered by Bitdefender. So it has full firewall protection and true enterprise product, and that will be an additional $2 per computer per year. All right. So with that, let's go right into the demo, and let's show you what the product looks like. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen now. I'm at deploy.faronics.com, and I'm on the dashboard page. And when you first come in here, you'll be able to see at a glance what's happening in your environment, how many computers do you have online, how many apps are pending updates, and what computers require Windows updates still. So which computers have pending Windows updates. You'll have details on your user management, your operating system, your application Windows Update widgets are here. And at a glance, you'll be able to see if there's anything that requires your attention. And there's hardware analytics here as well. What kind of processors do you have? Your antivirus status, and your frequently detected threats, for example. So let me go right to the applications page. And so when you first come in here and you sign up for your free trial, you will see that there's no computers in here. In order to bring computers into this environment, you go to the download agent option, and you'll be able to select the policy and groups you want this computer to belong to. And then there's 4 different ways you can actually install the deploy agent on your computers. Okay. We also have a Mac agent that you can deploy on your machines. So we do provide you the ability to manage your Mac computers. Now, once you've got your agents showing up in your console, you will be able to see which applications are out of date. And as you can see here, we have about 85 applications out of the box that we support. And so if I show you to this way, you'll be able to see, okay, here we go. So Firefox is outdated in this on this computer right here. So for each computer, we have the ability to have actions. So you can, if the machine is turned off, you can wake it up. You can remote into it, shut it down, restart. We have app presets, which will allow you to install and manage your app presets. If you wanted to have a set of applications applied and installed on a bunch of computers very quickly, you can do that. We have the ability to apply configurations on these machines. So you can select anything that you're able to manage on your control panel. For example, if I wanted to change my display, I can go ahead and do so and provide a URL, and the wallpaper can be changed as an example. You can also apply assign your machines to a group or a policy, and then you can even automatically set a computer as a cache server to save bandwidth, and that machine will then serve up those updates. All right, so let me just show you how fast all this works. So I'm going to go to, let's say, deploy 4 here, and I'm going to VNC. So you can RDP or VNC over the internet. Again, you don't need to be in the same network as these computers to be able to remote into these computers. If someone is logged into the machine, it asks that user for permission to log into that computer. And oh, I think I had a session open there. Let me try that one more time. There we go. So I'll then be able to request permission and remote into this computer. Here, let's try number 5. I think I was rehearsing on the 4th one, so let's see number 5. There it is. All right, so it opened up on my other screen. Here's the computer I'm able to remote into. Now, of course, the difference between RDP and VNC is RDP will lock the user out, whereas VNC will allow you to do a shadow session. And so again, I'm able to do this. These are computers that are in my office, and of course, I'm working from home right now. So I'm able to remote into these machines and show you just how you can act quickly on these computers should you have a request. So it's on deploy 5, I see that I have Firefox installed. So I can select Firefox and I can go ahead and you can see Firefox is right there. I'm going to go ahead and uninstall Firefox. All right, so you'll see here it's uninstalling Firefox. Look at the Firefox logo and bam, Firefox is gone. We're using the latest WebSocket technology here. So we maintain a very low bandwidth connection to this computer. And I'm going to show you just how quickly it installs as well. And then here we're going to the cache server to grab the installer, or we're going to go ahead and go directly to the Firefox website and install and grab the product. Everything is done in stealth mode in the background, so no user permission is required. And so by my timing, it takes about 15 to 20 seconds to install Firefox on a computer. 3, 2, 1, and it should be done by now. Okay, so I'll continue, but essentially it will be done within 15 or 20 seconds on that computer. Now, if you wanted to have any other applications that are not in this grid that we have, we also have the ability to do custom apps. So custom apps will let you create a package. So let's call it custom app. You can give us a URL, right? The architecture of it, and do you want to restart it? And you can even run it as a specified user account as well. And so what happens here is we'll take your package and deploy it on one of these computers. And then for the first time install, we will go ahead and install it on that computer. And as soon as it's successfully installed, we will then go ahead and add it to your grid as a custom app. So I can select this computer now and install the app just by clicking on install here. You can also do custom scripts. So this is very powerful. Again, you can run all sorts of scripts on this machine. You can run PowerShell, VB scripts, batch scripts, and there's all sorts of different scripts that you can manage and run. So for example, if I wanted to run the internet speed test, I can do that as well on this machine. And so you're probably thinking to yourself, what happens if you're not able to, what happens if you don't want to manually do everything, right? So for that, you simply go to the policies interface and you're able to schedule updates on that machine. You can do semi-automatic, manual, or even version free as a policy. And so if you were to choose a custom policy, let's say you can schedule an update to happen at midnight. You can allow the users to snooze the maintenance task. And when you go to the applications page, you can choose which updates will be done manually by you and which ones will be done on a scheduled basis. If you wanted to version freeze something, you can do so. You can also disable shortcuts and automatic updates for all these applications so that they're not annoying your users. And so these are all the different applications we have in the list here, which we can manage for you automatically. For Windows updates, we have the ability to automatically authorize different types of updates. So in this case, I have critical security and definition updates to install automatically. If I wanted to, I can also defer these updates. If you don't trust Microsoft, then you could defer it. You can also allow the user to defer the reboot. So once we install and download, once we download and are ready to install and a reboot is required, then the user can actually snooze that task. In addition to that, you're able to choose your branch readiness level as well as defer your feature updates and your quality updates. All right, so obviously, if you don't choose something to install automatically, I'll show you how Windows Updates works, and I'll explain how all that will work. For antivirus, we do have the ability to protect your firewall, and it's a true enterprise antivirus product powered by Bitdefender. And Adam will talk to that in a second. So like I said, for Windows updates, if you wanted to get an overview of what's happening in your environment, you simply go to Windows updates and you can see here what requires your attention. You can see here that this computer deployed to is highly vulnerable. And the reason being is you've got one critical update and two security updates missing. So I can click on any of these and you can see here, all right, so I've got the update Windows 10 version, and I can view which computers have this update missing. I can even click on view update details, and we will connect you to the Microsoft website and show you the KB details, so you can make an informed decision whether you want to go ahead and approve it or not. All right, so that's Windows updates at a glance. I will now hand it off. And by the way, if an update does fail, you can quickly look at why it failed by clicking on it. And you can click on any pending update as well to get more details on it and which computers it requires your attention on. And you can select a computer, install all updates, do a patch scan, or even view your patch history. So with that, I will now hand it off to Adam to talk to you about OS deployment.
Thanks, E-Man. So what we're going to do is we're going to, again, have another look at the deploy console and have a look at OS deployment. What we've done here is we've built the ability in to configure an imaging server on your on-premise hardware that will allow you to push images or pull images off of client machines for deployment across larger groups. The way we've structured it is you have the base images that come in, and then they stack with a set of installation settings and optionally a driver group to create a deployment package. And that deployment package can then be pushed out to your client machines so that they're able to refresh to a new version of the operating system. You know, if you had a large app you wanted to install, it gives you the flexibility to get that stuff out there. The way that the install settings work, we can either take and do a monolithic image where everything's stuffed in there, or what we can do is you can configure everything in the install settings, and then as part of the deployment package, you can come in here and add like a custom script to, you know, backup information, prep something as a pre-imaging task, and then as an after imaging task, you can actually then take those application presets He-Man talked about earlier and chain them into the imaging task so that you don't have to have, you know, Firefox, Chrome, and all that stuff installed. You can just select it, and that app preset thing gets installed as part of the imaging process, making sure that you're going to have the latest applications installed when your imaging process is complete, as opposed to having to go and do the image and then run all those updates. The actual process, once the machines are in here, is pretty easy to do. You just select a machine, and I can either capture or image the computer right here. If I want to image the computer, I just click on it. I select which image deployment package I want to send out there, hit OK, and then hit the button to image the computer. And the grid here will keep you up to date as what's going on. So it's going through, it's checking some for prerequisites. So we'll check for things like, is the machine encrypted? Does it have network connectivity? Can we contact the imaging server? Do we have enough space to do the imaging process? And update that information here as we go through. The imaging server itself also has the ability to generate installation packages for distribution to your staff or your end users. So what you can do is you can actually build a USB device that you can plug in and use to image the machine offline, or we can create a USB package creator that you could send to your user that they could use to build their own deployment package on their end so that they can recover a machine or do something to bring a machine back into compliance with whatever you're trying to push out. Okay. So that's, OS deployment kind of in a nutshell. Next, we're going to pop over into the antivirus section. And you can see here, we'll just slide over a bit. You can see this is actually a live machine. We're actually going through the process of imaging right now. So it's in the process of booting the machine into the Windows PE and getting it going there. So next, we'll hop over to the antivirus section here. And again, as He-Man said, we have an antivirus product that's integrated in here that is then managed through the web. So in here, I can see the status of my machines. I can click through and see what's been picked up in quarantine in the last little while. So I can see here that there's something that's been flagged as a risk. So now I know that maybe I've got to go have a look at those machines and see what's going on. Optionally, if I know it's a false positive, I can just click restore and bring that file back. I can also go through and set up alerts that'll tell me what's going on when these machines find stuff. So I can say, email me if active protection's turned off, if a virus is detected, if spyware is detected, if adware is detected, so that I can get a better heads up as to what's going on here. And you can see, general status is all in here. And I've got the ability, toggle the firewall, run the active protection, trigger scans, as well as do what we call a fix now. So if I click on a machine and there's something going on, I can tell it to do a fix now, where it'll go and download all the updates, run a scan, and just make sure that the machine's in a good state functionally on an antivirus, for the antivirus standpoint. Okay. Next, we're going to jump into the inventory page in the analytics. And the inventory page kind of gives me an overview of what's going on with the machine. So it gives me, basic details about when it was last updated, manufacturers. If there's a service tag associated with the device, we'll pull that in for like Dells and Lenovo's that have that type of thing. Gives me statistics on, how much space the machines are using, what operating system, computer model, BIOS version, public IP addresses, and stuff like that, so that I can look at this information and kind of see high-level stats as to what's going on with both my Windows and Mac machines. Now, this is kind of just basic overview, but what we can do is we can also now jump into the analytics section. And what the analytics section does is this gives us kind of a deeper dive as to what's going on with the client machines. And depending on what I want to look at, we can click through and see different things. So on the applications node here, this is statistics on the applications. So it'll tell me, what applications are in use, what applications are installed on a given machine. So if I wanted to find deploy 05, I can see every application on that machine that's been installed and, available to the users. And then I can look at, what's the status of the updates on all of these things and figure all that information out right from here. Usage reports give you details on, who's logging into the machines, what they're doing with them. So I can see here these people are logging in, giving me ideas as to how busy these machines are. Login summary flips this around and then tells me on a per user basis who's logging in where. So in this case, if you were on a domain, I could click on a user and see where they're logging in and how often. The Windows Update status takes the data from the Windows Update side of things and gives it to us in more of a report status, so I can see, which patches are being installed, what's happening with them, how they're tagged, all that type of thing. Antivirus reports, again, same idea, protection status, scan history, last scan, all the information you need to kind of view through and see what's going on with your machines. And the deploy diagnostics here gives you just a health check as to what's going on with the machines. So if there's a problem with a particular component, we can actually come in here and, update components, reinstall components, force restart services, things of that nature to correct any issues that might have come up during the normal operations of the platform. The next thing we're going to punch into is the ticketing piece. And this is actually a new addition to the product in the last little while. And what we've done is we've incorporated in the ability for our users to actually have their users submitting tickets. So if they have a problem, there's a user interface that they can actually see on the endpoint machine, and then they can submit a ticket. And once this ticket is submitted, it will pop up in our deploy console as something that the user has submitted for you. Once this comes in, I can come in here and go, okay, this guy here on computer deploy 21 saying their computer has a broken mouse. So I can now come in here and assign that to a particular user in the system to take action on. The IT admin can go repair the device. If it's something that's software related, you can use our remote access functionality to come in, grab control of the machine, and access it and fix whatever's going on, either with the VNC where the user can see it, or you can RDP in to lock the user out. As you're finishing this stuff up, we can come in here and we can, if there's a note that needs to be put in, we can put that note in there. We can attach a file if there's a screenshot or something that needs to be in here to document it. And then when we're done, we can flag that ticket as closed with a note to the user indicating why. Okay. We can further export this, and all the stuff even on the analytics page is a CSV file. So if you need to integrate with some type of other BI application, we can get that data out of the system so that it can be then moved to another platform or integrated with another piece of software. And then kind of the last thing that's on my list to touch with you guys is something that, most important feature for some people, and that's dark mode. And what we can do is we can click here and, flip everything into dark mode. So that's kind of where we end off there. One last thing is, do want to touch on the help. We've spent a fair bit of time building in documentation here to help you guys use this platform as efficiently as possible. The last thing anyone wants to do is, pick up a tool and wind up smacking their head into a wall trying to figure out how things go. So what we've done is we've got some context help here that tell you how to get started, how to do things in here. And then if we jump over here into the menu here, we can jump to our online help. And in here, we have lots of information as to how to use the system, how to work with it, like the custom scripting stuff. We actually have got some samples in here for like sending message, renaming computers, just various things that people have needed to do. And we've provided this information for them as a reference so that they can come in and build off of that and kind of extend that out. All right, so that about covers everything on my checklist. So I'm going to hand this back to He-Man and let him kind of roll forward from here.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, Adam. I wanted to add there as well, now that we have a little bit of time, we do have the ability to do site management as well. So if you have several locations and you have multiple users accessing those locations, you could set up 4, 5, 6 sites as you need to, and then assign different users to those sites with different permission levels as well. So depending on the scenarios that you're trying to address, we'll be able to do so. If you could, yeah, perfect. So yeah, you're showing that as we speak, right? So those are your sites. Yeah. And yeah. Anything else there, Adam?
I'll just show them the site creation there.
Perfect. So, that's as simple as the product works. Adam, if you can maybe switch over to the slides now so I can show the next slide. Excellent. If you wanted to get some user stories on how our users use the product, Deploy is now about 2 years old. We've been, making it better and better based on customer feedback. It is a child of our Deep Freeze Cloud product, so that product's already 10 years mature, and now we're taking all that feedback and putting it into our deploy product. And you'll notice customers absolutely love the deploy product, and they can't stop talking about how well and fast it works for them. So I do encourage you to go to faronics.com/deploy/stories to learn more about how our customers are using their product. So that brings us to the Q&A section. Just as a quick summary for yourself, we do provide 15-day trials of our deploy products. So please visit our deploy.faronics.com website. You can sign up. You'll get a little code in your email, and then you'll be able to try out the product for 15 days. And that 15 days is from the day you install it on a computer. So should you install it on one computer, it expires, you can always install it on another computer. And if you need an extension, we're happy to provide an extension as well. We do provide deployment and installation services as well at no charge during your evaluation process. So should you have any questions, we can also book a custom demo or an install call with you to make sure that you are using the deploy product to the best of its ability. And yeah, so David, maybe we can move on to the Q&A section. I wanted to make sure that we have enough time to address all the questions that our attendees have today and see if there's anything we can address. David, you there?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to check in with Richard if we had any questions that you wanted to relate to our audience that came in.
Yes, there's been a lot of great audience questions throughout the whole thing. So let's just go through the list here. Ben asked, can you see what updates need to be applied, and can you push those updates from the dashboard?
Adam, you want to take that?
There was another question.
Sure. So,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, updates can be viewed in the dashboard. So when you, actually, I'll just turn the screen share back on here. Yeah, so if it's an update to a particular application, you can see them in here. Just looking at the control grid, you can see like a particular web browser may be outdated and things of that nature. For Windows updates, if there's something going on, we can look at the machines and see, what updates are pending. As well, we can see that, these updates are all pending, and we can then click through and get a list of machines that are requiring this update to be installed and then take action on it as needed. So we can, in this case, this update is approved. We just have to wait for it to go through. If we want to go immediately, we can select the machines and tell them to do an install of all the updates right from here. Okay.
So we've had a couple requests now. Could you guys actually clarify the pricing model that we're using for deploy?
Sure. Yeah, so the way pricing works is $12 per computer per year. That's the special pricing for Spiceworks folks. Originally, it's $15, but it's $12 for Spiceworks customers. And if you were to purchase a 3-year subscription, it's $30 for the 3 years per computer per year, which amounts to $10 per computer per year. It is charged on an annual basis, or if you purchase the 3-year subscription, then we charge you for the 3 years and send you a purchase order for that.
Do the workstations need to be part of a domain in order to use deploy?
No, they do not have to be part of a domain. Deploy works on standalone machines. It works work on domain joined machines without any issue. We don't have any requirement for that.
Next question is, how do I remove a Windows update?
Okay, so if there's a bad update or something that needs to be removed, that can be done again with the custom scripting function. Just write a little script that pulls it out, and just yank that update off with the custom scripting piece.
Does deploy support Macs? And I think we answered this one off as well.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Deploy does support Macs as well. You saw in the application updates page, you have the ability to install and update applications. You can also remote into a Mac machine using DNC. So it could be a Mac to Windows or Windows to a Mac machine, and it works perfectly. And we also provide we also provide inventory analytics for a Mac computer as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Heman. Next question, is the imaging server licensed?
Well, the imaging server is part and parcel of the deploy platform, so we don't license it as a separate piece. I mean, in theory, you could have as many imaging servers as you need to make sure that you've got point of presence for imaging machines at multiple locations, across multiple subnets, whatever is required.
Okay. We just got another question submitted from one of our guests. Would a Windows 10 upgrade, for example, to 21H1 would we be able to cache this for remote office? For example, we have remote offices with 6 to 10 computers, but slower internet connections. Would the whole image have to be downloaded for each machine, or would there be a local caching option?
Okay, so the imaging component does require a local server to act as a host for the image. So if you've got like an imaging server at your head office and you have a remote site where bandwidth is somewhat constrained, you can set up an imaging server at that remote site, or what you can do is make use of the USB imaging component to generate a USB stick that your users could then plug into the machines, or you could get them the image creation utility so that you can give them the ability to build that USB key on their end.
You can even put it on a Dropbox account, for example, right?
Yeah, Dropbox, Google Drive, any type of file transfer utility could send it back and forth.
Exactly.
Another question is, do we have an automated installer for the agent?
An automated installer for the agent? Well, I mean, the agent itself is packaged as either an executable or an MSI package, so it can be installed silently. If we don't have an agent or anything on the machine, then something's got to get it there. But we do have the ability for that to be scripted or to be included in an imaging process, deployed via AD if you are on a domain or have some other tools available.
And we have a deployment utility as well that can detect your workstations. It can detect the workstations in your network, and then you can view your workstations, and whichever ones you want to deploy it to, you can deploy it to using that utility as well.
Excellent. We have another question asking, do you have tools for removing Windows 10 bloatware? Excellent question.
Yeah, that's something that we get asked a fair bit. The custom scripting component can do this type of thing, and it really depends on what bloatware you want to remove. A lot of times people just want to remove like the provisioned applications like the Xbox game bits and Microsoft Solitaire and all that type of stuff. And that is something that can be done using a custom script. Yeah, and it's just a matter of figuring out what you want to target and then firing off the script to take care of that.
Do we support Wake on LAN, and could you guys go over how that would work?
Sure. We do support Wake on LAN for bringing machines back online. Wake on LAN is a pretty standard, well-known protocol at this point. What we would do is when you hit the button to wake a machine up, we'll send it from a machine that happens to be online in the same subnet. We do have the ability to set a machine as last man standing, so that, if you've got an office with 30 machines, we're going to try and keep one of them online, so that you'll always have that ability to wake the rest of them up, so that you don't have to, you don't wind up with, all the machines going to sleep and then you can't do anything with them until someone walks in there to turn one on. It's pretty standard protocol that way. So it's nothing too terribly crazy that has to be jumped through hoops there.
One more deployment question. How easy is it to deploy an agent to a remote PC from my home office?
Depends on how you want to approach it. We've had some customers that'll just take the MSI file, hand it to their users and say, just run this. And as long as they have admin rights, it just kind of goes through and does its thing. We have one customer that in our other cloud product, we can generate a URL that you could email to your users, and they can just download the installer and put it on the machine. And he actually sent that email out to a bunch of his users and said, hey, can you click this link and download this software? And apparently 30% of his customers or his users did this. And he was happy because 30% of his machines were deployed without him really having to do anything. And he was absolutely terrified by the thought that 30% of his users will click on any link that they're sent and install it. If you've got some other type of point of presence there that you can push an app or get something running on it, we can leverage that to get the deploy agent out there. But it's actually easy enough to just double click the installer and go, or download it from the URL and hit the button to go.
Excellent. Can deploy be used to manage servers?
Yep. It can be used to manage servers. You just install it much the same way you would on an endpoint machine, and off you go.
Couple AV questions. Can the Faronics AV be disabled, if someone is already running a different AV solution?
Yes. So by default, it's not something we turn on by default. It is an optional piece that we allow you to enable, and once you purchase the license, it'll function, as expected. But it's not something that's turned on, I believe, by default across all the policies.
Yeah, it's just an add-on.
Yeah.
So if you do purchase the add-on, then you can enable antivirus on those computers. Of course, you can evaluate it during the evaluation period. But yeah, after that, it turns off.
Okay. Another question, can files and folders be copied back and forth, between endpoints?
We can definitely, with a custom script, copy files to the machine. You just have to have a script that targets whatever you want to copy down. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also use the VNC connection. And so when you do the VNC connection, VNC has the ability to send files to that machine. So you can use that built-in functionality there as well.
Similar idea with RDP as well. If you wanted to do it on large groups of machines, though, I'd look at doing a custom script, because that would let you target anything with a deploy agent with a single press of a button. Copying files from, in theory, you could do that as well with a custom script. You'd have to copy the files to a file share or something like that, and then retrieve them. But yeah, it's possible to pull files off of a client machine with it as well if you needed to.
Next question. Do we have two-factor authentication available?
Yes. So we have, if the users are tied in through our end, yes, we can do two-factor authentication via email. The other option that we didn't really get into is we do have the ability to integrate with single sign-on providers through SAML. So if you're using something like Google Authentication or Azure AD, you can hook us up so that we use those services for authentication, and then whatever two-factor authentication requirements exist on that end, we kind of inherit, because we're going through that through them for authentication purposes.
And we have the Active Directory authentication as well, right?
Yeah, we do have a
Yeah.
separate AD plugin that can be used on an on-premise AD if wanted, yeah.
So you can log in with your Active Directory credential if you wanted to.
And one more question here. What kind of security do you use for the RDP and VNC connections?
Well, the RDP and VNC connections are tunneled through our servers using standard HTTPS protocol. So it's the same type of tunneling we're using to protect the actual connection between client and server. So yeah, let me just it's currently just bringing up the details.
I like your answer, Richard.
Richard responded to that one online?
Yeah, he said we use end-to-end encryption if any remote connection. When not in use, we can disable RDP on the machine.
Oh, yeah. All right.
And I think that actually, looks like we've got one more question in here. So one was just submitted. What kind of file what kind of file is used for the installs of the images?
Okay, so the imaging files that we create, we use a WIM format. So it's a standard, well-documented format that we're using to capture images into and to store them on the imaging server.
I just want to direct everybody to the resources section again that David had mentioned before. We do have a link in there for the sign up for Faronics deploy option. So if you click on that, you can actually put in your email address and sign up right away. And to install the agent on the machine is literally a 1-minute job. And within seconds, that computer will now show up in your console. And then you'll be able to actually tinker around with it and really play with it and just see exactly how it all works. So I do encourage you all to try out the free trial as it's fresh in your mind.
All right. Well, that's it for our time today. A lot of great questions. I appreciate Richard going through all of that and the team here, Heman and Adam, going through the demos. A lot of great information here. I do want to remind everyone that you will be able to view this on demand. So if you need to review this again, if you missed any part of it, you will get a link in your inbox here after we're done today. Also, we are putting in the attendee chat, our winner for the contest. So congrats there. We'll be in touch with you in the community. So again, keep the conversation going. The information's up on the screen. As Heman has mentioned, sign up, email, or call. A lot of contact information there for you to utilize. With that, I want to thank Faronics for sponsoring this great session today. We look forward to another session with all of you again. Take a look at our community calendar for the next webinar soon. With that, I wish you a good day. Stay safe and keep it spicy. Take care, everyone.